This is an Investor Ideas exclusive podcast series with founder of Stock Analyst Guru, Richard Lazaro. Richard has years of an institutional equity experience as a stock analyst, portfolio manager, and stock trader. He's managed stock positions at hedge funds and other investment groups in New York. In this weekly podcast series, you will hear insight on learning how to trade based on support and resistance, market updates, and sector close-ups. For the full educational experience, you can check out stockanalystguru.com.
Hi folks, this is Richard Lazaro coming to you from Stock Analyst Guru for Investor Ideas. Today is Tuesday, August 21st, 2018. Today the S&P was up about 6 points or 0.21%. The Dow was up 63 or 0.25%. The NASDAQ was up 38 or 0.5%. And the Russell was up 19 points or 1.14%. But this does not really tell the whole story today, as the S&P did in fact touch its all-time high today of 28.73 and change, and then sold off to close at 28.63 or so at the end of the day, 11 points off the high, as a number of traders sought to sell into that double top resistance level and ask questions later. The S&P gapped up this morning, traded up into the highs, and then sold off and actually touched the gap up low from this morning before closing the day just above that. It did not break the gap or get into the gap area, it seems, but it did just about double bottom with the gap. And a number of traders also saw that as support and chose to cover right around there. This is how support and resistance works, folks. That's why it's so important to understand. The Dow held on a little bit more firmly, did not touch its gap up low from this morning. And the IWM/the Russell was impressively strong today. Was up a great deal, gapped up over its resistance highs, and just took off to the races. It was an unprecedented day for the Russell, and very hesitant to sell off, actually. What did break down, though, were the triple Qs, i.e. the NASDAQ. That broke first and came down fairly hard, but also did not break its gap up low from this morning, so held into that range of today's range, did not make a new low on the day, but did sell off quite a bit, though, from its run up in the first half of the day through about 12:30, 1 o'clock. The rest of the day was spent falling back down. So today was a risk on day with the NASDAQ and IWM up 0.5% and over 1% respectively, with the other two indices or exchanges up about 0.25% or so. So traders were looking to take risk today, but the way things ended, though, with the sell-off from the top, or the tops, leads me to wonder whether that resistance is going to have some follow-through in the next couple of days. I'd be surprised to see that would just turn around and go right back up to the top again immediately without a few days of follow-on to the downside. Crude was up 92 cents today, or 1.4%, and the bond yield was up, this is the 10-year, was up 2 basis points to 8.44%. Crude had a very strong day today and gapped up actually much higher than where it finished out the day to about $68 or so, and then traded down to under 67 before turning around and hitting support, actually the support line, and using that to go up a little bit. In any event, it is showing a nice uptrend from its 200-day moving average, which was hit on the 15th and 16th, which acted as support, and now the stock is bouncing right into declining resistance. This is precisely why the gap up today was met with tremendous selling. You can see that for maybe the first 3 hours of the day, crude prices traded straight down, right from that resistance. Sectors of note, the SMH, or Semiconductor Index, was up $2.12 today, or over 2%. NVIDIA had a strong day, and AMAT is reporting tomorrow. Plus, the sector was down like $7 straight in the last 7 sessions or so. So time for a little snapback, especially in a breakout day like today. One particularly poorly acting sector was the XLP, or Consumer Staples Select sector. Was down most of the day, created negative momentum with yesterday very quickly, and was noticeably weak. Smucker's announced bad earnings today, and Coty, COTY, did as well, which were down 6.5% and 7% respectively. Speaking of risk, the XBI was also up strongly today, up almost 2%, which was the biotech sector for the S&P, while the IBB, or NASDAQ Biotech, was only up 0.9%, so half as much. Also putting in a stellar performance was the XHB, or the home builders, on the backs of Toll Brothers' strong earnings announcement today. TOL was up almost 14% today's trading. Of the three horsemen, the SKYY XSW, which is software, the first one being cloud, and then cybersecurity. Cloud was noticeably weak today. Ran into resistance and closed near its low. I'd say that it's very likely that that group, or the ETF, will be going down tomorrow. In fact, I might be looking to buy some puts on that tomorrow, especially if the market's weak. Software was up 0.6%. Cybersecurity was up 0.8%. Both are acting fairly well here. Much better than the SKYY, to look into that. Also noticeably weak was the healthcare select sector, the XLV. It was closed flat for the day, gapped up, traded down, found a little support, traded up, could not make a new high, traded back down flat on the day. But what you'll notice is that, like the S&P, it's double topping its price from January. So it seems like it would make sense that this thing would have a little resistance here, at least for a few days, while people so I look to see that back and fill. But it is still over support, so might be tough to short here. In cannabis land, Canopy Growth, CGC, was up another $1.13 today on the back of maybe $3.50 yesterday, and it did touch 40 today before closing at 38.68. This is still some follow on you from the euphoria of the Constellation deal. Also, Aurora was up 7.3% today as well. A new stock that was requested, TLRY, TLRY, acted very strongly today as well, up $4 or some 11.25%, gapped up strongly and stayed nicely over support all day. Wow, the same goes for CRON, CRON. Another cannabis stock, up 97 cents today, or 13.25%. Also gapped up strongly, faded, and then flagged into a closing price of $8.29. Anyway, folks, any other questions? Get in touch with me. Hope you're doing well out there. I think that resistance might start to rear its ugly head here if just for a day or two, or the NASDAQ's chart looks a little weak, to be honest. The Triple Qs is one of the few groups to not get to new highs today. In fact, it stayed below declining trend lines and traded back into its range from the last couple of weeks by the close. If we gap down tomorrow below today's low, that does not bode well for an uptrend here. It would look like we would be because that range now is pretty tiny, so we could very quickly fall out the bottom of the range and head back towards the 50-day moving average. All right, folks, safe trading out there.
Investor Ideas reminds all listeners to read our disclaimers and disclosures on the InvestorIdeas.com website. And this podcast is not an endorsement to buy products or services or securities. Investors are reminded that all investments involve risk and possible loss of investment. To hear more podcasts, you can visit our audio page at InvestorIdeas.com/audio. And a reminder, you can also hear our podcasts on Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Google Play Music. To help you follow and track sectors, Investor Ideas has created stock directories of publicly traded stocks for investors to use as a research tool to start trading and investing. Visit www.investorideas.com/membership to learn more about our stock directories and leading sectors.